Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the TB&J podcast. With me today, back in his chair, Troy Brittingham.
I have returned.
D kept it warm for you, buddy. Can you feel his cheeks?
I thought I told you to never fucking let him sit in my chair.
Can you feel those cheeks
Yes,
pressing into the cloth of your chair?
And the chair isn't the same.
No? Does it smell like farts?
It smells like D, which is probably worse than farts.
It's a lot of bourbon.
Yeah.
Theme song. We're doing Obi-Wan Kenobi, Chapter 5, BT Dubs. For those of you who didn't read the title.
You just kind of blindly clicked on the screen until you got a podcast.
Yeah. You're like, TB&J, let me just fucking click on that.
If you blindly clicked your way to this podcast, send in an email.
Yeah, if you just blindly click on things and that somehow landed you in TB&J hell, let us know. I'm Jeff Ackerman, by the way. Thanks for introducing me, Troy.
Yeah, that's right.
Obi-Wan Kenobi, Chapter 5. So, I was told there was a content warning at the beginning of Episode 1, but I missed it. I didn't see it.
Maybe they added it later because I didn't see it.
Exactly, right? I'm pretty sure it's a retro ad. This one had a content warning.
Interesting. Well, yeah, because they go back to some.
Because they go back to the youngling murders and they kill a couple children.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess that qualifies as a content warning these days.
I mean, unfortunately, if that's the way you're doing it, maybe just put it on all things where all kids die in a setting like that.
Yeah.
In America.
Just put it on fucking Stranger Things, for Christ's sake. Why not?
I think Stranger Things did have one.
Really?
I think because people were saying that Obi-Wan should have had one and comparing it to Stranger Things when the episode came out.
That's interesting. I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm.
I was just shitting on Stranger Things for
I was
no real
shitting
reason.
on America.
I mean, you can always shit on America. It's pretty big. There's a lot of reasons to shit on it. But anyway, Obi-Wan Kenobi Chapter 5, they've made it back to Jabeam after rescuing Leia from the Castle Inquisitorius.
Mm-hmm.
And
should we do thumbs up, thumbs down?
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. I always forget the fucking bit that I invented. Troy, thumbs up, thumbs down.
I'm going to say thumbs up.
I'm also going to say thumbs up. This episode was pretty fucking intense.
This was a pretty confident thumbs up.
So, one of my favorite parts of this entire episode, which isn't even strictly this part of the universe. Throughout the whole episode, we get snippets of this duel between Obi-Wan Kenobi and Anakin from while Anakin was still a Padawan. He's got like the Episode 2 Padawan braid going on, and which it's weird seeing that because like they didn't touch up their faces very much.
Yeah,
so they just look old.
He looks a little bit older.
Yeah,
thankfully he doesn't look that much, like he doesn't look that different from when he did.
Yeah, Hayden Christensen has taken care of himself, but like, it's been 20 years.
And Ewan McGregor doesn't age.
No, he's just he's a fine wine. But like, it's been 20 years, you look a little different. But they keep going back to this little duel between the two of them, and Obi-Wan's got those quips that ultimately we know to be true about Anakin, where it's like, your need to be the best will be your undoing, and your lust for power is not a Jedi thing, and blah, 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 Jedi words. And just seeing the two of them clash at each other with the blue lightsabers, I was like, ooh, it's like the Battle of Mustafar all over again. Got little tinglies.
How come there's no Mustafar?
Anyway, so they make it back to the to Jabeam, and Vader follows them there because they fought the Tracker and Lola, and then like fucking, it seems like the whole fan base is split on whether or not they like Leia. How do you feel about Leia?
I like Leia a lot, Kid Leia.
Yeah,
I think that in Episode 4, which I said before was the worst one so far.
She definitely had a strong performance in that episode.
I think that she's maybe the best part. She's consistently pretty good through it, and like to get a kid to, cause she's like what, like 8 or 9?
Yeah, she's like, I believe she's like 8 or 9 when they're filming. Yeah.
She's like they got her to play Princess Leia, who's like in the top 5 most important Star Wars characters, probably.
She's up there for sure.
And then, like, she's good. Like, she's, like, it's hard to find, like, okay kid actors.
Yeah.
But she's like legitimately good.
She fucking blows me away with just her fucking performance. Like,
yeah, and the entire time I'm watching it, I'm just like, yeah, that's pretty much
and
how
I'm not saying that she's going to win an Emmy for this or any sort of thing like that, but like for a fucking 9-year-old, this is insane. Right?
It makes you think about what the fuck we're doing.
I mean, fucking Erin Moriarty, who plays Starlight on The Boys, is literally younger than us by a year or two. So, like, yeah, what are we fucking doing?
Well, it's fine. We have this podcast. That's good enough. It's fine.
Is it?
I'd say, tomatoes.
Tomatoes, carrots.
Yeah. Baby carrots.
Very, very different.
Baby carrots that have expired.
Baby carrots that you should have thrown away a while ago. They are now slimy and green in the bottom of your fridge.
Yeah.
And fuzzy.
We're the tomato, right?
No. We're the baby carrots. So, basically, this whole episode is just like a little bit of a powder keg where the rebels that aren't rebels yet are like trying to hold out against the Empire because the Empire is out right outside their door. We have third sister, newly promoted Grand Inquisitor, and she's.
I can't believe they killed the Grand Inquisitor for real. And
he's definitely dead, right? Like, there's no way he's coming back.
I was actually just watching Rebels with a friend, and I was just like, unfortunately, the Grand Inquisitor will never be back ever, and he's just dead for real, and Rebels isn't canon anymore. Even though the Ahsoka show is going to have a lot of those characters, I don't know how it's going to work.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. He's gone, right?
It's really, really tough.
His white head with those like weird headphone things he's got on his ears. I don't even know. Aliens in Star Wars are always weird because they either look human or they look like completely bonkers. Like somebody was just like putting Play-Doh on a model and they were like, "That looks good, send it." Like everything looks so fucking bizarre. And God forbid you try to make those aliens even a little bit lifelike. They have to move stiff like puppets or the fans get mad. Fucking bonkers ass piece of shits. Anyway, even Star Trek adapted and the fans were fine with it. Like, get out from your own fucking assholes, Star Wars. Come on. Fucking...
You're angry today.
I don't know. Man.
Well, as we were watching the episode together, you were still like, you were like railing on Star Wars fans. Have you been having a bad day?
I've just been encountering a lot of shitty Star Wars fans that love to tell me why my opinions are wrong and why everything I like is garbage, why everything I hate is actually the best. And I'm just like...
I understand. I like Last Jedi.
I also like Last Jedi. I hate Rogue One. But, like, anytime I go online, everyone's like, Rogue One was a dramatic masterpiece of Star Wars film, and it's amazing that they had a great Star Wars film where all the main characters died, similar to Halo Reach, which is also the best Halo game of all time, you know? Like, it's just the best, you know? I really loved having a war movie in the Star Wars universe, you know? It was like the Saving Private Ryan of the sci-fi world.
You see, I agree with both those takes, but I won't yell at you about it.
Oh, for fuck's sake. Worst Star Wars movie ever. Worse than Rise of Skywalker. At me, bitches. Anyway. Yeah, there's your fucking tepid poll. There's your fucking tepid poll. But anyway.
I actually think Empire is the worst.
That's nobody has that take. Nobody has that take. I'm pretty sure
somebody's got to have that take.
I'm pretty sure universally Empire is like the most beloved of all the Star Wars movies.
I personally like...
Personally, I know you're a Jedi guy, but I'm pretty sure critically, Empire is better than Jedi.
I was trying to think about if I liked anything else other than it. I was trying to think... it's probably my second favorite. I don't know. It's probably my second favorite.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Anyway, this isn't about Empire, though, because there's not very much Obi-Wan in that. This is about the Obi-Wan Kenobi show. Speaking of, by the way, Troy, did you see in the news today that the director, Deborah Chow, and Ewan McGregor are both very hopeful for a season 2 on Disney+.
I did hear about that.
Which, I always thought this was supposed to be a limited series, but if they want to do a season 2 out of it, fucking have at it. I'm all for it.
And especially since last episode, I believe I said this is probably the last time we'll ever see Ewan McGregor as Obi-Wan.
Yeah, you did say that. Also, like, I'm very, I'm always excited for more Ewan McGregor as Obi-Wan Kenobi, because he's the best Obi-Wan Kenobi. No disrespect to Sir Alec Guinness, but Ewan McGregor is the Obi-Wan that I grew up with. He's my Obi-Wan Kenobi.
It's hard. That's tough.
In my mind, hear me out. In my mind, Obi-Wan Kenobi and Ben Kenobi are two separate characters.
Sure.
Do you agree with that?
I don't know if I agree with it, but I see where you're coming from.
They are two separate guys. The old man in the desert and the guy who killed Grievous are not the same guy. I know they are.
So you mean, you mean like spiritually they're different guys. I know what you mean.
Exactly my point. It's like how it feels like Boba Fett and Mando and Boba Fett in fucking 5 and 6 are different characters entirely, even though they're literally the same guy. I don't know, it's weird. But I digress. I would love to see more of this. I've heard it speculated that this was supposed to be Kenobi, a Star Wars story. This was supposed to be like a feature film.
It was. There was.
But then after the flop of Solo, they canned it.
Yeah, Solo is the only Star Wars movie that hasn't made money.
And I don't think that's Solo's fault, honestly.
No.
Admittedly, I haven't seen Solo, but mostly because it doesn't appeal to me.
I think that you would like it. I don't think that you'd love it. I think that you would like it, though.
There's a lot of actors in there that I love. Donald Glover, Emilia Clarke, like fucking...
It's maybe the most... as far as star power goes, beforehand, like characters that... people who aren't just Star Wars people originally... it probably has the most incoming star power, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. Because for the prequels and the original trilogy, and even the fucking sequels, it seems like all the main characters were relative unknowns.
Yeah, there's like exceptions where like Carrie Fisher wasn't necessarily unknown.
I mean, no, her mother was already a goddess of Hollywood.
Whatchamacallit?
Debbie Reynolds.
Billy D. Williams.
Billy D. Williams, he was pretty well known, yeah. Harrison Ford was an up-and-comer when Star Wars happened.
Yeah, but
then he became super famous for other things.
He was still big because of Star Wars, though. Star Wars and Indiana Jones.
Yeah, which were pretty much the same time, right? They were both Lucasfilm.
Pretty close.
And they happened like one right after the other.
And then you have, obviously, Samuel L. Jackson. You have... Ewan McGregor wasn't nobody, Liam Neeson wasn't nobody, and Natalie Portman.
Yeah, Ewan McGregor was coming off of Trainspotting, right? The first one?
Something like that.
Which was that movie where he was like a heroin addict coming down. It was like a super dramatic role for him, and he did really well in that film.
Yeah, so like they there's like intermittently characters who are and aren't big.
Legendary puppeteer Frank Oz, he's been a member of the Muppets for years.
Yeah, but like for the most part, like they do pick up a lot of people who's like, people weren't really talking. I know that she was in things, but like people don't really talk about Daisy Ridley previous to sequel stuff.
Well, she wasn't. Mm-hmm. Daisy Ridley was. Disney specifically cast her because they wanted somebody who didn't have anything attached to them.
Did she not have any? I thought she did have.
Star Wars was Daisy Ridley's first big role. That was why it was so controversial when she got cast, because she was completely unknown, and they didn't really have an idea of what she could do, and they were handing her the reins of the main character in their trilogy. So it was like a little crazy. And then since then, she's been in the Murder on the Orient Express films, and she's been in a couple rom-coms, I think.
Yeah, could you imagine giving the main the main lead to Star Wars to somebody relatively unknown who hasn't done like anything? It'd be so stupid if they did that. It's a good thing we always had like Mark Hamill and like
Hayden Christensen.
Hayden Christensen, who I think was in like an episode of Goosebumps.
Yeah, basically he was like, I was in the Mickey Mouse Club, and then nothing.
I don't think he was in. I think he was in one episode of Goosebumps.
Like that's his
Maybe
acting
2.
credits before Star Wars 2 in 2002, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Clones was 02. But yeah, I would love to see this come back for a second season, because even though it's not done, I feel like there's so many more stories you could tell with Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Interesting. What do you think? Well, I guess they could go Maul.
They could go Maul, and they could do some of that stuff. I mean, we know.
Is I've seen Maul.
We've seen Maul in Rebels, and I believe Obi-Wan kills Maul in Rebels.
Maul dies in that episode. Yeah.
Yep. We could have Maul be like another big bad who's like hunting Obi-Wan, and he narrowly escapes. And that might be how Maul manages to find him on Tatooine.
I don't think they can do that, because there's a lot of stuff in Rebels where he's like searching for him, and he's surprised that he's alive after 66. So I don't think that works the same way.
Well, on the flip side of that, there were books that I remember reading when I was a kid in school about Obi-Wan between 3 and New Hope, and he was this guy who was kind of trying to like help runaway Jedi get new lives and stuff, which seems to be what he's doing here.
That could be pretty close.
Yeah, that's kind of what he's reluctantly doing here, is he's helping these not rebels.
Maybe throw in a Quinlan Voss.
There you go. We also have yet to see the Qui-Gon Jinn appearance. And I believe it's all but confirmed by Liam Neeson himself that he's in this.
So it's got to be next episode then.
It has to be, right? You don't drop the Qui-Gon bits in the first couple episodes and not have it pay off at the end.
I believe my now wrong prediction was that he was going to be in this one.
Yes, you did. And he would kind of like help Obi-Wan before the final fight with Vader.
It was how he got his mojo back.
Yeah, but it feels like Obi-Wan got his mojo back. But
he's still kind of a sad old man.
He's still a sad old man, but like I feel like this first season is the Emperor getting his new groove, and then season 2 is going to be
he turns
reigning
into a llama.
Yes, and then we have Llama Kenobi, and then
they cast Patrick Warburton as the bad guy.
Ah, that works very well, Darth Kronk.
The lightsaber. Lightsaber specifically for stabbing Kenobi. This Kenobi lightsaber. That lightsaber?
Yeah, that's fucking hilarious, dude.
I really want Patrick Warburton as an Inquisitor now.
Dude, I want Patrick Warburton in the Star Wars universe.
It doesn't matter who he is.
Dude, I've been watching a lot of Buzz Lightyear stuff lately because I'm excited for the Lightyear movie. And he did Buzz Lightyear in the animated TV series. And boy fucking howdy, I forget how awesome Patrick Warburton is.
Except for when they dubbed him with Tim Allen and then undubbed him.
Yeah. And I would love to like just listen to him read the phone book. They should just make him like a security guard on a base or something like that, or like a maintenance guy. You can't be in here, you Jedi.
Yeah, just give him something. Give him like the Bruce Campbell, Sam Raimi effect, where he can just be in like 2 seconds of a thing.
Yeah. And he's got the hand that attacks him, and then he goes like a Easter egg.
And I have no reason for Patrick Warburton being in Star Wars. I don't know if
absolutely
he's a fan
not.
or anything. I just want him.
Oh, man. What if, because Disney, right? Disney, Star Wars, Pixar, it's all the same umbrella, we get John Ratzenberger showing up in everything. What's up, Jedi? No, that was a terrible...
That sounded more like you were going for like a drunk Bugs Bunny.
I'm gonna just pretend that didn't happen, actually. I'm just gonna edit that out. But no, like fucking Ham from Toy Story just shows up, you know? Or
Unchanged, same character.
Mort from Cheers.
Still CGI.
Yes.
Should we talk about this episode?
Yeah. So basically, what everyone had predicted was going to happen happened. Reva is kind of still a Jedi at heart. She was a youngling during Order 66.
I don't know. I like what they did because she kind of isn't, right? Like, she's just kind of like, no, that fucking sucks, and I'm done with it.
You're right. I'm wrong.
I have the drop for that.
You do not anymore. That drop doesn't exist.
Interesting that you didn't bring that one back. Also, I can't find the fucking button. Anyway, continue.
Anyway, but Obi-Wan, while buying time, has a conversation with Reva where he asks her how she knew that Anakin and Darth Vader are the same person, and then he pieces it together how she was a youngling at the temple when Anakin slaughtered the younglings at Order 66, and she says that she hid among the dead bodies and played dead until she could escape. And I'm just like, this was the brighter rewrite, and I'm just like, Jesus H. Christ, what the fuck was the original story? Like, I don't even think I want to know at this point. But I hope they use some of that for season 2. But it's Obi-Wan basically it has Reva admit that she's been hunting Vader and she doesn't actually have any love for him. She wants to kill him at the first available opportunity. And then later, Obi-Wan turns himself in to her, and he's like, I'm doing this for you. I'm not bringing him to me. I'm bringing him to you. And she's just like, but he'll see it coming. And he's like, no, he won't. He'll be blinded by me. And, like, he's not wrong, but Reva needed to be a little bit faster, and Obi-Wan needed to be a little bit slower to make it work. There was just a little too much time between Obi-Wan disappearing and her attacking, where Vader was able to like get his wherewithal back, and defend against her, and that gave us probably in my top 10 favorite Star Wars fight scenes of all time, where Vader not even using a lightsaber, just using the Force, just effortlessly
He just
blocks.
Force wax on, wax off, so the whole game.
Honestly, that's exactly what it is. And he just deflects her attacks. And there's this scene. Hello, kitty cat. There's this bit where they like zoom in on his hand, where he like pushes her back and raises her weapon up, and then throws her away. And it's just like, holy cow! Vader makes it look effortless. And this is seconds after he grabbed a spaceship out of midair, grounded it, and then ripped the wall off of it. Like, Vader is so strong and so fucking scary, man. Like, and then I believe D had made this point. Maybe I made this point. I don't remember, but it was a long time ago, where I wasn't a big fan of them doing Vader like in the Disney parks, because they've kind of made him this character and this like caricature of a bad guy, and they kind of seem to like taken away the power of the mask.
Right.
Like, he doesn't seem as scary anymore. And that's why I love shows like this, and like that one fucking scene in Rogue One where they made Vader scary again. They made Vader a bad guy again. And I was like, oh shit, that's right. This guy could murder everyone.
The end of Fallen Order.
Yep, that too. That too.
There's a scene or two in Rebels where he shows up and he does scary Vader stuff.
And the best part, I think, about all the scary Vader stuff is that we know he can't die. So we know this immortal bad guy is standing in front of whoever dares oppose him.
Yeah, if you're not watching content that has Vader and Luke in the same room, it's basically like watching this force of nature just kind of bowl through the area.
Exactly. This like Genghis Khan level of conqueror, and this just Jack the Ripper style murderer just taking on whoever's in front of him, whoever had the audacity to stand in front of him, and he's just like, LOL, you're dead. And then I was watching this with my fiance earlier, and like after Reva initially attacks him, he takes her lightsaber, breaks it in two, and then gives her one of the halves. Like, come on, let's see what you got. Let's see what you got.
It's almost like are you kidding me? Come on.
Yeah.
I'm Darth Vader, but
yeah.
Stop it.
I'll humor you. Let's see what you got. Let's see if you can pull this off. Spoiler alert, she can't. She really fucking can't. Like, oh my god, she can't. And like, oh my god, she tries. She tries real hard, but she ends up getting stabbed. And then the Grand Inquisitor shows up because he was dead, man.
But I thought they destroyed the canon.
He was dead.
I thought Disney doesn't watch any Star Wars things. I don't understand.
Grand Inquisitor shows up, takes his badge back off of Reva's chest, and he does have that line where he says, "Revenge is what is it? Fuck, what is it? Troy, help me out here."
He says, "I got you, nanny poo poo. I'm Grand Inquisitor." You smell like doo-doo.
Like, revenge is good for your life expectancy or something.
Something like that. I don't know.
Revenge is good for your will to live. That's what it is. And then, like, he basically just, like, spits on her and takes his badge back and walks away. And then she gets her lightsaber back because, I mean, they just left it there. And then she finds Obi-Wan's broken communicator with a message from Bail Organa saying that he's worried about Obi-Wan and he's going to go to Tatooine. Owen will help the boy. And, like, while that's happening, Obi-Wan on the escaped freighter is just like having a Yoda Order 66 level of attack where he's just like, something's terribly wrong. And then he's like, I'm sure it's nothing. I'm sure we'll be fine. And then he just like stares off really dramatically and scared. And I'm just like, well, everything's clearly not all right. Everything's clearly not going to be fine.
So she's not really Empire at this point, I guess, right? She's sort of out of it, because I think the way they filmed it, she's probably alive, right?
Yes, it seems like she's definitely alive, or at least alive enough to do something. But, like, she got the communicator, and then Obi-Wan got that distressing disturbance in the Force.
Yeah.
So, like, if she had good intentions with the information she just learned, then she probably would be fine. So my guess is she's going to heal up somehow, right? And then she's going to return to Tatooine and wait there. And this is either going to be like the death of Bail Organa, or like she's going to hold Luke hostage, and Ben Kenobi's gonna have to pull out some grandfather space wizard magic to save baby Luke's life, and hopefully save Owen and Beru in the process, and then they can be like, you know what? You're not such a bad guy after all.
And he goes, I'm glad you're definitely alive, Uncle Owen and Aunt Beru, and nothing bad will ever happen to you.
Not as long as I'm around.
You'll live long, healthy, happy lives and die of natural causes.
I mean, they lived pretty long lives.
They did.
They were pretty old in New Hope.
And died of natural causes.
Fires
Fires from nature, is it not?
In a desert where there's no fuel, it's pretty hard to find a naturally occurring fire.
Sunburn?
Some pretty bad sunburn. They were skeletons,
Pretty
dude.
bad sunburn.
They were literally skeletons, man.
Somebody held a magnifying glass.
Dude, to make it just skeletons left, they would have had to like be burning them long after they had actually perished, and it was just like a sadistic game at that point, just melting flesh away from the bone.
It's because stormtroopers never hit anything, so they just kind of relished in the moment.
Like, oh, Terry, you got one! Oh my god! Don't let go of that trigger. We got to get pictures for Snap and Insta.
What is the Star Wars version of Snap and Insta?
Probably just Snap and Insta. I mean, Insta is owned by Zuckerberg. I can't think of a more evil empire guy than Mark Zuckerberg, except maybe Jeff Bezos. And who fucking knows where the hell Elon Musk is? He's definitely chaotic neutral.
He's more like
maybe leaning chaotic evil.
Who's the analysis? Who's the analog for him? Nah, I'm not going to go into it. Anyway, I was thinking too long. And
I was giving you the time to think if you wanted it.
Yeah, I just didn't want to pause too long.
Okay, fair enough. But yeah, my prediction is Reva is going to head to Tatooine and she's going to want to kill Obi-Wan. Because in the conversation from earlier, she blames Obi-Wan for Anakin slaughtering the younglings. She says, why weren't you there? Why didn't you save us? What were you off doing? What was so important? And in our minds, as the watchers, we know that, like, he was on Utapau, killing Grievous. Like, you know, he was busy. He was doing a thing.
It's interesting. That's how you say that planet.
Utapau?
I'm not saying you're wrong. Every single time I hear anybody say that planet's name, it's always different.
You know what? I was just thinking that as I said it out loud.
I always say Utapau.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I say Utapau because that's how it's pronounced in the Battlefield 2 game in Galactic Conquest.
I have heard from somebody Utapu.
Ugh, that's
which
wrong.
I don't think is correct.
I was going to say, I've heard Utapau, I've heard Utapau. I don't know. I go back and forth, like tournament and tournament.
Right.
Like I say it both ways. To quote Sean Spencer, I've heard it both ways.
And funny enough, that's where the Grand Inquisitor's from, or at least his species.
From Utapau?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, he is?
Remember that guy who's talking to Obi-Wan at one point? And he's like, they have eyes on all of us.
50,000 battle droids.
It's the same species of guy, and that's the thing that everybody points to, and they're just like, how come he doesn't look like that, huh?
Huh. That is weird.
Mm-hmm.
That is very weird. But that pretty much wraps up episode 5, or chapter 5, if that's what you want to call it. I hope there's a season 2, dude.
Here's my question. Because I thought that this episode was in the upper tier of this show so far. I think that 3 and 5 are probably the 2 best so far.
I mean, you could say that about almost any show, I feel like.
Yeah.
Usually the 3rd and 5th episodes, especially in a limited series like this, are usually the best.
And a lot of the Disney ones, the 4th episode's not the best.
Exactly. I feel like they follow a formula almost. And that formula is very unique to like these Star Wars shows, Mando, Boba, and Obi-Wan. It's very much not that same formula with other shows like The Boys, for instance, where every episode just keeps ramping up and ramping up and ramping up until like the final episode is just like an explosion.
Well, The Boys is straight up maybe the best show on TV.
The Boys honestly might be the best show on TV.
It's there's a few things that I haven't seen that would be probably left out there, but it is out of all the things that I watch, is probably the best thing.
I tried to get my fiance into it when we first started it with the podcast, or when we first started dating, I guess. And she was out. Podcast? Yeah, she was out almost immediately as soon as the Deep orally raped.
I want to point out, if it's not for you, I get it.
Oh, I get it. I totally get it.
I think the show's great, but the
punchline to that is that we started watching it for the podcast, season 3, and she was just on the couch with me on her phone, and then suddenly I had to pause it and go pee, and she was like, "Why'd you pause it?" And I was like, "Excuse me?" And she was like, "I was watching that." And I was like, "You were?" So now it's like she's watching season 3 with me, and now she's like invested in these characters.
Which is funny,
and she'll be like, "Wait, remind me, who's that person again?" I'm like, "That's Victoria Newman. She's the Congress lady / head popper." Like, it's really funny how once we got over all the rapey stuff, now she's back in. And I get it. I get it. Rape's not for everyone.
I would argue, yeah.
I think that's a safe stance we can take on the TB&J podcast. Rape is bad.
Could you imagine if they did trigger warnings for the boys? It would just be like, it would just flash on the screen in the corner.
It would just be like a constant like pop up on the side, man. You just like couldn't get rid of it.
After like the 30-minute mark, it's just like, why are you still watching?
Yeah, like we told, like we threw a child off a roof, man. Like, come on.
It's not getting better. But Kenobi anyway. My question I was going to ask was, if you had to rank, are you in agreement that 3 and 5 are the best, right?
I think so. I've got high hopes for 6 though.
Yeah. Where would you kind of rank them back and forth? 3, 5, or 5, 3?
Remind me. 3 was
when he meets Tala, he meets the droid, and
right.
Yeah.
3.
I think I'm also 3 as well.
Yeah.
As I was watching, I was like, do I like this the best? And then I remembered some parts of 3, and I think I went back.
As far as writing episodes goes, especially like directing, producing, all those things, I feel like it's easier and almost more well received when you like light the fuse of a bomb versus when it goes off.
100%.
Yeah.
And which is sort of similar to
and that was exactly what 3 was. They lit that fuse because that's when Darth Vader was closing in on Kenobi, and they had their small fight, and then Kenobi ran away. Like that's they lit that fuse, and then 5 might have been the bomb going off. But I'm curious to see what 6 has in store.
And it's similar to how I felt about Mando, where I thought that the best episodes were 3, where he finally leaves, what was the planet's name? Navarro. And and that's when he's like officially on the run.
Yep.
And then there was episode 7, which is kind of like getting the gang together beforehand, and I liked it better than the actual payoff of that in the 8th episode.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of that stuff of like, I really like the team kind of getting together. I like seeing the beginning of the conflict, which was what 3 kind of was. It's what you're saying, where it's like you pick the build up is almost better because it's almost like it's sort of the moment where you're like, this can go anywhere.
Yeah, and that's the thing, right? Like the build up is always better because people start writing their own endings, and then no matter what your ending is, you're going to make somebody unhappy. And it's not going to be regarded as good of an episode.
Well, maybe not in the Star Wars community. I think the Star Wars community is pretty accepting of most people's writing choices.
I think the only more hostile community I've ever seen is Game of Thrones after it ended.
Well, I mean,
and that's not a joke.
I mean, everybody was more unified in that one, at least.
Yeah, I guess, but I've never seen fans hate the source material as much as Star Wars. Like, I've heard it said before, it's not my line, but like nobody hates Star Wars as much as Star Wars fans.
It's everybody who's watched a Star Wars movie heard that at this point, and it's upsetting.
Yeah. Weird how space wizards can be so fucking dividing. You'd think something as nonsensical and just stupid cool as that would be like, hey, let's all gather around and watch the awesome laser sword movie. But no, it's got to start a fucking internet war.
This is kind of a side tangent. It's still Star Wars and still community stuff, but it sucks. I've talked in the past about how I obsess over fucking Star Wars X-Wing, the miniatures game.
Yeah.
And that game just recently had a bunch of rule changes because a new company bought it. So it was like a new company, a bunch of new rules. And it's like still the same game, and I've liked the new rules a lot, especially after the most recent update, because they like updated it and then a few things didn't work, so they updated it again. And it's like, and it was just like to fix the new rules.
Could you imagine if like Hasbro sold Monopoly and suddenly they had all new rules for Monopoly?
It would be weird. It would be wild. But the thing is, I have straight up been like, because tabletop games are, if you think Star Wars fans are bad, nightmare.
I don't even touch tabletop games anymore.
Look at Warhammer, and it's nasty. But at the same time, I thought that X-Wing was like far and beyond. Nobody complained about anything, including Star Wars content, and it was like this super welcoming, great community. And the new recent change, like it would be to the point where like I could run lists that have like Rose, Tico, and Holido, and
Jesus
Finn and Rey
Christ!
on it. What?
I googled the new rule changes, and I got a quick summary of changes video.
Yeah.
It's 30 minutes long.
Yep, it is a lot.
30 minutes long for a quick summary of the changes. Not even the core rule book is in there. Jesus Christ!
They have done a whole lot to the game, and I like pretty much all the changes, I think.
But I'm sure there's purists that are like, "Fuck you."
Oh, and this is like the second or third rule change at this point, and people are still like, but it's so weird because people have gotten in the last few months so toxic for no reason. Like you cannot like it, but it's like it's fine if you don't like it. You can play the other version or wait until the game goes to a different version or whatever, and it's okay to even complain a little bit. But people are cutthroat recently, and it's so sad because it's like, it was this super, super sort of pure community where nobody ever did that.
Right.
And it's been really upsetting lately.
That sucks, man.
Yeah, and it's the first time where I'm like, oh, yeah, that's right, it's a Star Wars community. And it's kind of seeped back in.
It reminds me of when Gears Judgment came out, and like Gears of War community from like 1, 2, and 3. Everyone was like, yeah, let's fucking play Gears. And then Judgment came out, and then it completely divided the community. And then 4 and 5 came out, divided the community further. And I'm just like, guys, just play the stupid game with the gun with the chainsaw on it. Why does this have to be hard? Just fucking play. You're all playing the game anyway. Why are you bitching about it? Just shut the fuck up.
My opinion, 5's one of the most fun Gears games made.
It is the most fun Gears game ever. And I stand by that. As a guy who played 2 for like hundreds of thousands of hours, 5 is the best fun I've had playing Gears. No joke.
It's hard to say. I like 3 a lot, but I don't. That's close. It's probably 3 or 5.
D, this is why you need to be on the Obi-Wan Kenobi podcast. When you're not here, we're talking about tabletop games and Gears of War.
We're talking specifically about communities, and I think no,
sure.
Legit,
no, I get it. Anyway, that's all we really have to say about Chapter 5 of Obi-Wan, I think. Troy? Yep. All right, cool.
No.
Jeez, what?
Tala and the droid die.
Yeah, we knew that
we
would
knew
happen.
that would happen, but still, like,
she fucking went out by blowing up a thermal detonator in her face.
Also, I was very sad about the droid. I don't even know the droid's name. I don't know what number he is or anything like that. I really like this droid.
Yeah, fucking, he talk about the strong silent type. Dude never said a fucking word.
And they say it in the show. Actions speak louder than words.
That's all, folks.
Why actions speak louder than words. I can't do it.
Fuck, where's the... Yeah, nailed it. All right, cool. That's all we have to say about Obi-Wan Kenobi Chapter 5. Super excited for Chapter 6. Predictions, aside from Reva being the final fight?
Qui-Gon for sure.
Qui-Gon for sure, right?
I think that... So, they have to walk a thin line because they have to try to do it in a way where Vader doesn't know about Luke or Tatooine in general. I mean, knows about Tatooine, but not anything's going
Vader,
on.
I don't expect to see him at all in 6. Obi-Wan ran away, and Vader just like walked back to his ship and left Reva to die. Reva's the only one who knows about Tatooine at all at this point. The Empire is following the ship that left Jabim, but like they can easily get away from that or explain that away.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to get into that territory again because they're like, oh, our hyperdrive's broken, the Empire's coming. Seems like a slow.
We're out of fuel.
Seems like a slow-moving ship with with limited fuel.
God, fucking.
It's going to be a whole conversation.
Anyway. They just make a phone call to Alderaan, send in the troops, escort us home kind of a thing. Because Alderaan, at this point in the universe, they're known for having kind of like a buttheads relationship with the Empire.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm pretty sure if the Alderaan government sends out some like Tantive 4-esque Corellian class freighters to just like escort them to the planet, they'll be fine.
Mm-hmm.
I like if that happens like first thing in the next episode, I'm like, all right, cool. And then Bail gives Obi-Wan a ship to fly back to Tatooine.
I'm trying to think about how much of an rebellion there is at this point.
As far as I know, it's just those people in the freighter, really. The whole like the path of people that are trying to help the Jedi relocate.
They have like Saw Gerrera's more like terrorist cell as a thing. At this point, I'm pretty sure Kanan Jarrus and the Rebels crew are probably doing stuff at this point.
But that's just it. It's like individual guerrilla fighters. There's no unification.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, probably no Ezra. Maybe no Sabine yet.
I don't think there really is a unification until Leia comes of age, right?
Well, there's... They have a line, because I've been rewatching Rebels with a friend recently.
Mm-hmm.
And...
You don't have friends.
I've been rewatching with dogs. But in that, they're basically talking about how like there are a bunch of rebel cells, and I think actually the Grand Inquisitor has a whole line where he's like, "Hey, there's all these rebel cells, and they're all tearing up the galaxy, but we've been able to hold them all back, and that's because of one thing, because they lack unity." And he's like rubbermaning two guys right before he chops both their heads off. It's when that show when people were like, "Oh no, this show's for little kids." I don't think it's. Oh, they're dead. Oh, those guys are dead. Oh, they're very dead. Yeah, he's talking about how there are rebel cells all over the galaxy, but they're just not unified together. And Rebels kind of talks about them getting a little bit more unified, and then I think Leia is the one who kind of wraps it up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, yep. Super excited for episode 6.
Little baby Wedge Antilles in that show. Just
really?
Learn how to fly a ship. Hera teaches him a few things.
God, I'm so fucking excited for Rogue Squadron, dude.
Mm-hmm.
God damn, I love Wedge. Anyway, that's it for episode 5, chapter 5, whatever the fuck, of Obi-Wan Kenobi. And, stay tuned for chapter 6 next week. Go ahead and like and subscribe on all your favorite podcasting platforms. Leave us a review, all that fun stuff. And we'll see you next week.
Star Wars.
Star Wars.